Welcome to the Knock On podcast, brought to you by the good people at Zero Tackle. And Dan, we haven't even had a tackle in this round. We haven't even been able to get over what was round 6 before we haven't been knocked on. We've been knocked out by a bombshell. What's happening?
Well, we usually do the show on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, but we thought, hey, we got to get in while the going's hot. Some of the biggest news, I didn't see it coming, but evidently, if you ask Tigers fans, they knew this was coming. Lachlan Galvin, who I believe is one of the most talented youngsters in the NRL right now, has pretty much come out and said, just today as we record, there's no future at the Tigers, and the Tigers have said, we'll see ya. We're going to break this down. We're going to go through a few things, but I want to get your thoughts first and foremost because I did not see this coming yesterday. Full disclosure, I had him as my man of the match. I thought he was best on ground for the Tigers. I thought he was the face of the franchise for the next 10 years.
I'll stop you there because Lachlan Galvin was dreadful yesterday and the man of the match was Terrell May, and it wasn't even close. I'm not as high on Lachlan Galvin as a lot of people. My tweets will show that. I don't see in him a 5'8". I look at him and he just screams Wade Graham. Like, get him in the back row, get him at lock, get him on an edge, whatever it is. This happened last year when they signed Jerome Luai. When he broke into first grade, he came out and said some pretty ordinary things about Benji Marshall then. They signed Jerome Luai. He agitated for a release. Now, some of the things that have come out today on him asking aren't painting him in a good light, but I don't know. Like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with him telling the Tigers 18 months out, I don't want to be here anymore, right? And a lot of people who are like really aggrieved with it. Lots of people that I respect, not yourself, but loads of people I know who are really, really like taking this in a how can we allow this? How is this allowed to happen in the NRL? What is a contract these days? Man, good on him for turning around and going, my contract's up in 18 months. I'm giving you 18 months to plan for a replacement. I'm giving you 18 months to figure out what you're going to do, or you can release me tomorrow. Whatever.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You might have seen me check my phone. I actually had a notification that said Lachlan Galvin, and it was just someone making a smart ass comment. That's so good. I thought, oh, we better not go too early here. Caught me off guard. Oh, I thought Galvin was very good yesterday. Maybe I was watching for super coach reasons because I had him in my team. He got me home. Maybe that came into it. Terrell May's been absolutely blistering. More on him a little bit later. I don't hate in theory what you said. I just figure that something's going on there, and it's so negative that they've come out 18 months before. No one can talk to him for another couple of months till November. So he can say to the Tigers, "Look, I'm not happy with the deal. I'm not happy where the club are." And the club can say, "Look, give us till October. Maybe we make finals. Maybe we go on a run. Who knows? Someone gets injured. Maybe they get through a week of finals. That's not beyond the realm. Unlikely, perhaps, but stranger things have happened, such as the Tigers winning the title, and they did. The fact that it's come out now, it doesn't shock me because a couple of years ago we saw him say, I want to release, I want to go to the Roosters or whatever it was. And then he came out, like gun to the back, Simpsons meme saying, I want to stay at the club. I love this club, me love forever. Like it was just, it sounds like this again. But then it came, I was just thinking they're just saying they want more money. Dylan Brown's reset the halves market. They just want more money. It's come out, they've offered this kid who's got 20 games to his name, $1 million a season over 5 years. You ain't getting no more money than that. This is just, I can't believe that his manager and he have gone to the club and said, we're not, no. And I can't believe the club have sent a press release out. What'd you make of the statement saying, oi, he's not going to be here after 2026? Can't they mend fences?
So the statement, I think it was the statement that caught everyone off guard because we didn't get the Michael Shamus article until after the statement. So the statement looked really stupid from the Tigers going, we've offered him one of the greatest deals we've ever offered to a junior. He said no, he won't be here until 2026, right? What the Tigers should have done, they shouldn't have released that statement. The article was going to come out anyway, right? From Galvin's camp, and that's what player managers do. They release these things to the media. But it's now come out in Shamus's article that it wasn't Galvin and his manager that went to the club. The club went to Isaac Moses and said, "We want to offer him a great deal, the biggest deal ever, over 5 years." And Isaac Moses said, "Don't bother. We're not interested." Right? So that there has caught the Tigers back off guard. They've gone into their board meeting this morning. Hey, Isaac Moses doesn't want us. Quick, go and shoot that release out. What they probably should have done is then figure out what is it that Galvin doesn't like at the club, and that's come out in the Shamus article. He doesn't rate Benji Marshall, doesn't think he's the coach to take him to the next level. Hold that thought, everybody. Hold that thought right there. But he doesn't rate Benji Marshall, doesn't think Benji Marshall can take him to the next level. Doesn't want to play second fiddle to a 5-time grand final appearing, 4-time grand final winning, 3-time Origin winning halfback.
Well,
5'8".
last tip.
Right? So Jerome Luai, and I get it, people are like, I was taking the absolute mickey out of Penrith fans about how, Nathan Cleary can't win without Jerome Luai, and they turn around and go, "Oh, he doesn't have a try or a try assist in 2025. He's got more wins than you guys. That's what I was getting at. It doesn't matter. He's the glue that held Penrith together, and one of the pieces that held Penrith together. The issue that I now have is that Lachlan Galvin has said, and Lachlan Galvin's manager have said, they don't rate Benji Marshall. They don't think that he's going to be the coach to take him to the next level. And immediately he's linked with the return home to Parramatta. What do you think Jason Riles is going to do for you? They're coming stone motherless last. They've conceded like 270 points. They have the worst point differential. Parramatta right now have the worst point differential after 6 rounds since the 1999 Magpies. That's how bad Parramatta are at the moment. And that's the link that he's going to. I saw a link to the Roosters. I've seen people come out and say that Gus Gould loves him, but the strongest link is to go home to Parramatta. And that's another thing. The Tigers fans are going, "Oh, yeah, we're losing one of our juniors." Bro, he's 19 years old. He's been in the club for 3 years. He's a Parramatta junior. He's a Parramatta junior, just like Mitchell Moses was a Parramatta junior. I know it sucks because he's a good young player, but he's not one of your juniors. But if he goes, if he agitates for a release to Parramatta for next year, that's going to look really, really bad on his behalf after he's turned around. So I don't think Benji Marshall can do it, but I think an even rookier coach is the one who can do it for me.
Yeah, I've got on here where we go. Let's. I'm just going to go on from that. He's in a pretty good system right now in that there's not a whole lot of expectation on the Tigers. Okay, they've signed some players, but if they make the 8 this year, that's a humongous win considering the absolute dross that they've been for 3 years. I was looking at it today when it first came out as he's next to one of the best players in the game. I know Luai splits the fan base. I don't care. He's done it all and he's a
Luai
freak.
is awesome.
Yeah, we've seen what's happened with Penrith since he's gone. Now he's not the only one. I get it, but he's an integral part of it. I just think that okay, Benji's there, but it's not like he's got a 10-year deal and they could sack him tomorrow if Wayne Bennett came up. Like, I'm not they're not married to Benji Marshall. Like, it's a good story, but it's not gonna be a 20-year coach thing. It's not like Cronulla into Fitzgibbon, Serrato Bulldogs, they're tied to those coaches, win, lose, or draw. I just figured that he's in a situation where he's got the 6th spot, and we'll talk about the other bloke in a minute. He's next to Jerome Luai. He's going to get $1 million a year. This is a kid they're already talking. They took him into Origin camp, and there's talk of taking him into Origin camp this year because they've got a buy that's advantageous for that. They see him as a future, and then you think he's going to put some KGs on. He's 19 or 20. He can go in the back row and he can play like Wade Graham. I could argue that Wade Graham was worth $1 million to Cronulla because he was the only player in the competition that could do the things he could. There's not many that can do what Lachlan Galvin can do. We've seen how important Isaiah Yeo is as the best ball playing lock in the game. Everyone's like, yeah, Jake Trbojevic. The gap between them is massive. If Galvin can keep going on the trajectory, there aren't many that look as high as him. I was shocked that this all came out. I get it. There's going to be talks of him getting released. The Roosters have got money. They need a half. A lot of it, see, where Cherry Evans signs is going to have a lot to do with this because that's 2 years. Galvin is 2 years off, like, to the end of contract. There's going to be so much here. Right now, if you put a gun to my head, I'm saying the Roosters are going to sign Lachlan Galvin because I can't see him going to Parramatta. I know it's romantic. They're a rabble right now, and they've lost Dylan Brown. They've got some young kids. I don't know if they take that punt. But I'll ask you before we talk about his replacement, if other clubs are seeing this, he's already pressed for release when he had like 3 games to his name. They talked him down. All the things that have come out that he's a brat, that he thinks he's better than everyone. His dad's a pun. Now I don't know if any of this is true. I'm just reporting what we've read. That his dad's a punish. Isaac Moses is a well-known behind the scenes. He runs his own shop. Would you sign him, or is he too much trouble?
Like, hand on heart for Cronulla, yeah, we need a lock. If you could talk this kid into coming and being a lock, but it sounds like he wants to be the man, right? So is he going to go to Parramatta and be in the same shop as he is now on a worse team with an even rookier coach? Gonna have to play second fiddle to Mitch Moses. Okay, yes, he only has to play second fiddle to Mitch Moses. At the Tigers, he's got to play behind Appy, who's awesome, behind Jerome Luai, who's awesome, behind Dream Buller, who's playing really well. Terrell May, like he's fifth, sixth, seventh cab down the rank, right? Goes to the Roosters, Sam Walker, whoever they get to replace Tedesco, because they're going to get a marquee player. Is going to be Joey Manu coming back, and they're going to try and get Joseph Swaliti back. The Roosters was my immediate thought because they've got a bucket load of cash. The Dogs, never write the Dogs off. But again, like, what's going to happen? Are they going to push Burton to the centres, or is he going to go there and play lock? I don't know. I don't know. Like, yeah, like if you stuck a gun to my head and said Cronulla have $1 million available, which we don't, and Lachlan Galvin will go there and play a lock, yeah, I'd take him. I'd take him tomorrow
Yeah.
as a lock.
He
I don't rate him as a
yeah.
5'8" at all.
No, that's a good shout. He'd have to play second fiddle with about 6 Sharks too. So he's got himself into a situation. A lot of people have come out and said, "Oh, he's got a deal. He can't have a deal. It's illegal to
He's
talk to him
probably
for
got a
another."
deal. Like Isaac Moses probably said, "Oh, November 1, this club's going to give you money, and November 2nd, he's going to sign somewhere."
That's very conspiracy theorist of you, but I don't disagree. Now let's talk about his potential replacement because all I've heard all night, and I put the tweet out there to guess, is that Galvin sucks. He's always sucked, and Latu Fainu is the way forward. Special kid. He's been very, very good in the reserves. He's had a bit of an injury concern, as a lot of young players do. Definitely not writing him off in that. I like Latu Fainu, and I think that if he and Luai can form a good thing. Do you think he's a replacement, given that Galvin wants $1 million and Fainu's probably on a third of that? He's younger. Most say that he's better compared to Twitter. No, I don't know that he's younger. Maybe they're the same age, but they're a similar age. He's definitely not much older. Do you think the Tigers can look and go, we kind of got out of it here, and they go with Fainu?
Yeah, look, Samuela and Latu Fainu were the ones that they got from Manly. It was a big deal getting these two away from Manly. And this was Benji Marshall's here. Benji Marshall has got these guys across from Manly, two of the best young kids coming through, right? I think like Latu is a very, very, very talented player. He's a different player to Galvin, though. I think eventually the plan was that Galvin would take Alex Seyfarth's spot or Alex Twal's spot. One of them, I think, like, if you wanted a ball playing lock, then that's obviously the way forward. I think Seyfarth's had a pretty good start to the year at the moment. Twal's had a really good start to the year as well, to be fair. So what do? Um, you've saved yourself a bit of cash. You really have saved yourself a bit of cash by this situation happening, but you're losing a really quality player. Like, in 5 years' time, if Lachlan Galvin is like carving the NRL up with it, if he's having like a Wade Graham type career and he wins a premiership, and the Tigers are going to get deuced on, and this isn't even their fault. Like, you get the whole, how did the Tigers let it go? They don't want to let him go. They've just offered him $5.4 million over 5 years, and his agent said, "Don't even bother. Okay, take that piece of paper, throw it in the bin." But yeah, I don't mind fine. I think the Tigers are in a good spot. They can go to the market. The thing is now though, players know that the Tigers have $1 million in their salary cap for 2026. So you don't have to replace him next year. You've got to replace him for the year after. And I haven't looked on zero tackle. My fault. I should have done this. But I imagine there will be some players coming up. I imagine that he'll be no short of suitors. I can think of about 6 clubs right now that Lachlan Galvin could walk into and make a real difference.
Yeah, I would be shocked in the next minute. I'll throw another question out, then we'll move on. If he's there at the club next year, I think it's fractured. This is recorded before Teamless Tuesday. I expect him to be named because Finu is not available. He had surgery a couple of days ago, I believe. Eh, with Galvin, he may get booed this Monday. Let's be honest. Like the Tigers fans, he hasn't got the runs on the board that Cherry Evans did when he ran out at Manly. They all went, "We won us a premiership. You've given us 10 years. We understand." Galvin's seen by 90% of the replies in my Twitter as a brat, as the worst thing. He's Judas right now in West Tigers colours. Do you play him moving forward, or
Yes.
do you drop him?
You can't, like, I've seen loads of people go, drop him, get rid of him. That's the problem with the Tigers is like you can't just go and drop him. You're in a position now where you need to win games. You can't just go and put Heath Mason in the 6. You got to win games. He is one of your best 17 players. For the remainder of the year, he's one of your best 17 players. Now, if you really, really want to mess with him and piss him off, you put him in the bench in 15 jersey, and when Terrell May needs a rest, you send him on to play prop.
That's fair.
But
If
you
five
can't you
years,
can't drop him. You cannot drop him. Like it's the same thing to us. I know he's just re-signed, but if Brayden Trindle turned around and said, "I want to go to the Dolphins next year," and he had a deal going with the Dolphins, he said, "I'm going to play this year out with Cronulla and try and win the premiership, but I'm going to the Dolphins next year." Do you go and drop your best performing half and arguably our player of the year last year just because he wants to go to another club? No, you don't. You play them and you run them into the ground. Oh, I've got a niggling hamstring. Cool. If you weren't leaving, I'd give you a rest. But you got a niggling hamstring. That's all well and good. You got another one.
get out. You
Yeah.
got 2 M's. Use it.
Get out there, play
What?
prop.
Because a lot of what I'm hearing is they need to bench him or get him out of the way and get as many games in the final as possible. What are your thoughts there?
Uh, Who's the better player at the moment?
For
That's
me,
yeah.
for me, it's Galvin. I don't think it's close
Yeah.
right now.
Galvin is the better player, and you play him until you get like the Latu Fine is not going anywhere. He's not going like he wants to be at the club, but you can't just turn around and throw all your preseason away, all the good work that's happened in the first 6 weeks of the competition. You can't just go and throw it away. Like Benji Marshall's coaching career is on the line here. If he doesn't make the finals, he's probably going to get sacked. Just playing, but run him
Final
into the
question:
ground
if say Manly come along and say swap, do you let him go early?
for this year. Are they getting Daly Cherry Evans this year?
Look, let's say theoretically yes, but it's not going to happen. We
Well,
might do
because you can't swap for next year because Cherry Evans is off contract.
that's something I saw. Let's say
So
I
so
don't know.
so
Say,
if Manly so say things like say Manly got because Manly is one sport where I think he could go really well next to Jamal Fogarty, but the only thing is you've got Luke Brooks there. But say the relationship between Manly and Cherry Evans turns really, really sour, like Lachlan Galvin and the Tigers, and the both clubs can make the swap happen this year. Absolutely, but the Tigers are still getting raw dogged because they're not going to have Cherry Evans next year, although they'll have 20 weeks to convince him to stay.
no, that's true. There's a lot of questions, a lot more. I expect a lot more by the time we
Yeah.
wake up tomorrow. Probably by the time this drops. But some other stuff happened this week,
Did
and
it?
this looked very different until this all broke. I had to rewrite a complete article this morning. I had it very perk based, and I was like, well, now I got to go Galvin. That it is what it is. We had some interesting refereeing decisions on the weekend. Nothing that decided games or did it. Let's start with the Jack White and hip drop.
Yeah, cool. So I've seen an argument on both sides of the equation here. That was a hip drop. Okay. It doesn't like people, stupid people are going to come out and go, oh, he didn't get charged for it. He didn't get a fine for it. Do you know what? Not every penalty is going to get the wrath of the judiciary. Not every penalty is going to get a fine. Not every sin bin is going to get a fine. Not every sin bin is going to get a suspension. But that was a hip drop. It is a textbook hip drop. He grabbed him up the top. He dropped his hips on the back of Scott Drinkwater's legs. That is a hip drop. It wasn't a bad one. It wasn't the one where he swings his body around and hurts them, because that's the one they cracked down on. The one where you swing your legs around, you swing your body around and land on the legs. But Jack Whiten grabbed him, took his legs off the ground and landed on the back of Scott Drinkwater's legs. Hip drop. It was. He was binned for it. It was the correct decision. Just because Jack Whiten is not copying a suspension this week doesn't make it wrong, doesn't make it not a hip drop. It was a hip drop, just wasn't a bad one.
Yeah, he didn't get sin bin, did he? It was just penalised.
I thought he got sin bin, and that's when the Cowboys scored all the points.
No, I don't think he got sin bin because my argument was that it was a penalty, not a sin bin. Because I'm pretty sure, because everyone was saying, "What do you do?" Okay, save the try, but it's a penalty. It tells you to look it up while we're
I
looking.
am, yeah, I'm pretty sure he did because that's because the Dolphins scored all their points during the time he was in the bin.
Yeah, I thought it was just straight after, because I know Drinkwater went ballistic after that, but my whole argument was it was a penalty, not a sin bin. So I thought the referee nailed that one. We'll just stall for a bit, but a lot of people were like, "What do you want him to do?" Okay, he saved a try, but Jamie Ainscough saved a try in a pretty famous grand final a couple of years ago. You still get penalised. You can't shoulder charge a bloke when they're trying to score. You can't run and fly kick him in the head just because they're going to score. I thought that one was right. I think the referees nailed that. It was a penalty, not a sin bin.
Correct.
I'm
Yeah, it
glad he
wasn't
wasn't.
a sin bin. It wasn't a sin bin. Yeah.
I'm glad he wasn't charged.
Mhm.
I had a feeling that, again, the conspiracy theory of me is that the NRL would say, "Oh, yeah, we better charge that," just a fine though, but they didn't. So I'm
Yeah.
glad.
But that was a yeah, like, either way with that, because I'll give you 100% honesty on this. I was in Dubbo on the weekend, helped my mum. I didn't watch this game. All I saw was people blowing up about the tackle. I had a look at the tackle. I was like, I don't know what the problem was. That's a hip drop.
No, I'm with you. Did you see the Xavier Savage penalty try?
I did not.
No. So there was a kick put through.
Mhm.
Um, the Fox ran, put his arm out, held him back. He was he was maybe going to score. All the talk was, he's held him back. Everyone's getting prepared for sin bin. The game was over, so it didn't really matter. Penalty try. Xavier Savage did one of these. And you see the Fox go, "What the hell?" I won't get your opinion because you didn't see it. My opinion is, if that game was close and that was given, we'd all be blowing up about it to this very moment. I thought they absolutely butchered that one. They're lucky the game was well and truly over, or that would have been humongous come Monday morning.
Mhm.
Did you see the Sunday afternoon Dane Gagai and Stafford Toa get sin bin for?
Pushing. Yes.
What do you think of that one?
I think only one person needed to go to the bin for that, and that was Dane Gagai. Right?
He started it, right?
Right. So this is my issue with Dane Gagai. Super talented player, 34, 35 years old, still has it, right? Can still turn the game on the absolute head. Goes missing way too much though. When his team's down by 20 points, he's the most aggressive player on the park. Turns almost super violent, right? And you'll watch it. They'll be losing 20, 30 points. He'll have a run. He'll get up and push someone. He'll make a tackle. He'll rub their face in the ground. He gets up and he gets all aggressive and he acts all hard. Bro, you look like a dickhead. You're down 20-0. You've done 3/5 of nothing all game. The only person who should have gone to the sin bin was Gagai and should have been a Tigers penalty.
Yeah, yeah. I think they got the penalty right, giving it to the Tigers. I was shocked. Like, it was a bit of name calling. Like, you and I have had 30 worse dust ups on before we hit record on this show than that. I get why the penalty was given. I just want to get that out there, that he was de-escalating what looked like it was going to go. But if they start sin binning that each week, we'll have 15 a game. It was despicable.
Oh,
I think they got one right of the three.
I've just watched the Xavier Savage penalty try. Whoa.
What do you reckon? Would you give it?
If that was 20 all, the Fox is going to the sin bin.
Yep. Yep. I feel that was the game's over. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But
I think the video referee wanted the Raiders to get to 50.
yeah, well, fair enough. That I can support. Let's talk a bit of Sharks, mate. We do save this for our podcast, but it's worth bringing up, I think. Now, the Sharks this year are undefeated in games played in the sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
Don't believe they won a game in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one could argue that the football they play is a little bit different. Now, Vegas obviously is an outlier. That was evening. There is a roof. I don't know how you look into that. But Cronulla looked very willing to play some free-flowing football. We've seen a lot of length of field, what should have been tries. We've seen some freakish tries. Do you think Cronulla are playing football that you can win in the night because it's getting colder, the
Well,
ball's getting slippery.
here's the thing about it as well is they've played in Townsville on a day when it was like 28 degrees and 567% humidity. Then they
Right.
played at Shark Park where the sun was out, there was no breeze, it was 35 degrees on that day. And they took a game to Perth, and a good friend of our show, Sam Revel from Wobble and Jaw Sports, he said that the conditions, and I quote, were really hot for the Sharks game. So they played 3 games in extraordinary conditions and won, and yet they get the cool air and they've lost. I don't think there's anything to do with it, but I do love a conspiracy theory. Go for it.
That's why I thought I'd bring it up before it gets ruined in this weekend or something. It's funny this week because they're playing technically in the day, but they're playing the nights. So
Oh,
I don't know if what and it will be dark by its full time. So I think this is the weekend we'll know for sure. But I do think Cronulla are playing expansive football. I do think they're fitter
mhm.
than a lot of teams, which is weird because they've done more travel than anyone other than the Warriors. I I I'm glad the game's in the daytime this weekend as a Sharks fan, put it that way. But I don't, for the record, think there's anything to that. I just wanted to bring it up before it does get ruined.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Now, speaking of ruined, the Dally M, mate, always causes controversy on this show included. I'm going to give you 3 names,
Mhm,
and I want you to tell me
mhm.
if you had them leading the Dally M's at this time of the year.
Okay.
Jai Gray, Terrell May, and Will Kennedy. I
Well,
don't think any of
I
those.
like what you did there. I like what you did there with Will Kennedy. Yes, I'll give you that. Um, no for Jai Gray because one, I didn't think that he was gonna be any good. Um, and he's been awesome in their wins. Didn't pick up any points on the weekend though. I don't think, or he might have picked up a couple. I didn't have a look. Um,
Ransom's at 1,000,000 meters. The kid's playing exceptional
yeah.
football.
Um, Look, Terrell May has just been like new lease on life, right? He's he is so good, and if any forward could win it, sure, go ahead. I hope it's him. Will Kennedy has just he's been mad for Cronulla, like he has. Um, there was one game though where they gave him points where you and I didn't, and obviously we're better judges of Cronulla. I, I if you go back and watch the Sharks Manly game, more fool you, but I have watched it again, and the commentators were literally just talking about Lehigh Hopewadi versus Will Kennedy. So whoever was going to win that game was going to get the Daly M points. However, Lehigh Hopewadi then didn't get any Daly M points from the Manly side of things, which was really weird.
Yeah. I I can say so Will Kennedy's had 2 lights out games, right? The way it's set up at the moment, if you're clearly the best on ground, you get 6 points. That is a huge jump because after that, they're like 0 ta we have our own 0 tackle MVP. And last week, Scott had I believe it was Cam Munster is the best player. I didn't have him in the top 7, right?
Mhm.
Whereas this week we've seen where Will Kennedy won 3 out of the 5. So he gets 15 points and whatever the 4th. So I can't remember. There's so many bloody things going through my head all the time. But one game can get net you 6. And then the next 3 player, the next 2 players can be split and 1s and 2s, and you see the start fall away. You only really need 4 man of the match things, and you're flying.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring the Daly M round up because I just to talk about the Sharks game. Right. Where is
'Cause I couldn't tell you who got the second lot of points. I had Teague Wilton, you didn't have him in your 3.
No, Blake Brayley got points. So hang on. Round 6, 2025 Dally M. So let's have a look. Says May and Kennedy make their move. Um, so for Cronulla, 6 points to Will Kennedy, 2 points to Braden Trindle. I've got a huge, like, did he get 2 points for Manly? For his effort for Manly?
Yep, 2 try assists for
Cool.
Manly, yeah.
Then there was 2 points to Blake Brayley, 1 point to Daly Cherry Evans, and 1 point to Clayton Fayalalo. No, Lehigh Opawati was better than both of them, and
Yeah.
Hamali Olawikawatu was better than both of them. So
They were
technology,
stunts. Wilton.
Yeah,
He,
Wilton didn't get no points. Stone Street didn't get no points. Hazelton didn't get no points.
Ramian was better.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's incredible, right? And as you said, like so if you have a look, so Jai Gray got a point. Reece Robson got 5. Tom Dearden got 3. Tom Lolo got 2. Drinkwater got 1. Hudson Young got 6. Xavier Coates got 5. Terrell May got 6. Billy Smith got 6 for the Roosters. The Dragons Titans game was really, really set out. It was Kyle Flanagan 3, Jaden Sewer 3, David Fafita 3, Moses Sully 2, Luciano Leilua 1. Like
Yeah.
that's an awesome split. That just shows like how awesome the Dragons were and how good David Fafita was in a losing team.
Oh yeah, he could have been man of the match in a losing effort. He was that bloody good.
Yeah.
And I hate giving man of the match to a player from the losing teams, as you've probably seen if you follow with our award. I I prefer the Dally M's as a 6 point because you're not seeing that egregious. Oh, what? How does he deserve? Oh, he got 1 point. It's all good. It's calmed down. But I think it's set up that if a bloke and Kalen Ponga goes on a run where he misses half the season, plays terrible for the a quarter of it, but he's man of the match in 5 straight games, he wins it. I think if anyone's close with 5 rounds to go, they can win the Dally M on the back of 5 straight games.
But
So
this is the thing, like if Cronulla go on a 6 or 7 game run and Will Kennedy's awesome, he is a Fox Sports poster boy. They love him. They love him. Like I don't watch Channel 9. I refuse to watch Channel 9 anymore. But Fox Sports, every time Cronulla play, it's always about how good's Will Kennedy going. And then you get our fan base that can't stand it. So, and that's not me. I love Will Kennedy.
it is good fun. But mate, tonight has been one of the most enjoyable. We've got more talking points.
I've got one more talking point. I'm
Please.
throwing this one at you. I hate the 10-minute sin bin, Dan.
Mhm.
I hate the 10-minute sin bin. For how attacking that the NRL has made the game these days with the 6 again, and the far like no scrums anymore when the ball goes out of play. When there's a knock on it to play the ball, if there's that silly play of the ball, it's just you turn around and you just play the ball the other side. It's a fast, free flowing game. 10 minutes in the bin is way too much of a punishment.
Yeah.
You're seeing that in games now. I think it was the Warriors game I'm thinking of. Jackson Ford got sin bin.
Yeah.
And in the time that he got sin binned, Ryan Pappenhausen and Xavier Coates just went absolutely ballistic, and it was 30-0 by the time he came back on. That's insurmountable. It's time to bring back the 5-minute sin bin. 10 minutes for like your real shitty on reports high tackle that could have almost been a send off. But for a slowdown in the play of the ball, like a crappy professional foul, 5 minutes in the bin.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I've been a big proponent of the 5-minute sin bin. There were a couple last year, especially when they did this crackdown and every high tackle went. No, there's different levels. There is the high tackle, the Luai one the other week. There wasn't penalty, there wasn't sin bin. That's 10 minutes. Whereas we've seen one sin bin the last few weeks, probably deserve 5. Well, I've got you. Angus Crichton. Now, the force wasn't there. It wasn't like he Macho Man elbow dropped him. But this bloke had 10 meters of action to make, turned around, and those that know The Simpsons have seen Nelson Muntz run backwards to run in and hammer a bloke. What'd you make of that? Because if they'd sat him down off that, I would have had no issues at all.
He should have gone in the bin.
Yep, I'm glad you said that.
Yep. Hey everyone, thank you for sticking through this episode of the Knock On Podcast. It has been huge. And you know what else is huge? Good people at Zero Tackle and zerotackle.com. Your one-stop shop for everything rugby league. Breaking news, stories, transfers, up-to-date contract situations, who's going to go where, talking points, power rankings that don't make sense, the best individual and independent writers that we have led by Dan Nichols. Dan, what have you got for us this week that isn't Lachlan Galvin?
Well, I'm going to avoid Lachlan Galvin because I'm already over it. We spoke to him for 15 minutes straight. I've got some power rankings dropping, Terry, and I know you're not the biggest fan, but right now, are the Dogs or the Storm the number 1 team? Find out very, very soon.
What's the Dogs? They haven't lost.
Well, you're kind of ruining the joke here, but yeah, kind of. So, on the other, I debuted a new column last week. Great mate of the show, Mr. Irvine, he knows who he is. has suggested that we put forward a matchup of the week, not Cronulla Manly, but a one-on-one matchup. And last week I said it was Olakau'atu and Wilton, the winner of that, or, you know, if Olakau'atu's kept quiet, Cronulla will win. Ended up happening. And then the mismatch of the week, which last week I had is Angus Crichton against Jaden Hunt. And I said that if the Roosters are to win, Angus Crichton has to 10-8 him. And I think it's fair to say that he 10-8'd him and they won. So I'm 2-0. I'm going back in this week. Don't know which mismatch I'm going to get, and I'll reveal all soon. I'm going to send that. Scott's waiting in bated breath, but I'm feeling pretty confident, mate. And with that, I'll be back next week with Terry. Doesn't look like it.